Everything is wrong. Strange. The ocean doesn't look as it should. On December 5, 1945, 5 US Navy bombers on a routine training flight vanished. Then the search plane sent to find them disappeared too, making a total of 27 men gone without a trace. The official story blamed pilot terror and bad weather, but the flight's final, chilling radio transmissions told a different story. Experienced pilots lost and confused as their compasses failed and the world around them became unrecognizable. Was this a tragic accident, or did these men become the most famous victims of the Bermuda Triangle? On December 5, 1945, at the Naval Air Station in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, the weather was clear. At 2:10 p.m., 5 TBM Avenger torpedo bombers took off. These were tough, battle-tested aircraft, the largest single-engine planes of the war. On board were 14 men, a mix of trainees and instructors, designated as Flight 19. Their mission was a routine training exercise, a triangular route heading east from the Florida coast for a mock bombing run, then north and finally southwest back to base. Leading them was Lieutenant Charles Carroll Taylor, a veteran pilot with over 2,500 flight hours. Although new to this base, the mission should have been simple. As they flew east over the Atlantic, no one suspected they wouldn't be back for dinner. For the first 90 minutes, the flight was uneventful. But around 3:45 p.m., a concerned message came from the flight leader, Lieutenant Taylor, "Cannot see land. We seem to be off course." When the control tower asked for his position, Taylor's response was baffling. "Both of my compasses are out," he said. "I am trying to find Fort Lauderdale. I am overland, but it's broken. I am sure I'm in the Keys." The control tower was stunned. The Florida Keys were nowhere near Flight 19E's route. He should have been over the open ocean of the Bahamas, but he seemed to think he was on the wrong side of Florida entirely. This bizarre disorientation was the first sign that something was terribly wrong. As the situation grew frantic, another instructor flying nearby, Lieutenant Robert Cox, overheard the chatter and tried to help, but Taylor seemed not to trust the advice. His own pilots grew anxious. One was heard saying, "Damn it, if we could just fly west we would get home," but naval discipline required them to follow their leader. Taylor refused to switch to an emergency frequency, and instead led the squadron on a series of erratic maneuvers, flying deeper into the empty Atlantic. As the sun set, the weather worsened, turning a clear day into a storm with high winds and rough seas. Flight 19 was now lost in the dark, in a storm, with no idea which way was home. As fuel ran low, the radio calls grew desperate. Around 6:20 p.m., Taylor made a final haunting transmission. "All planes close up tight. When the first plane drops below 10 gallons, we all go down together." Then silence, but the tragedy wasn't over. At 7:27 p.m., 2 Martin Mariner flying boats were dispatched to search for Flight 19. One of these planes, Trainer 49, carried a crew of 13. The Mariners were known as flying gas tanks due to a design flaw that could cause explosions. Just minutes after takeoff, Trainer 49 radioed in and was never heard from again. Shortly after, the crew of a nearby freighter reported a massive burst of flame in the sky. They found an oil slick, but no survivors. In a single evening, 6 aircraft and 27 men were gone. One of the largest sea searches in history followed, covering over 300,000 square miles of ocean. Nothing was found, no wreckage, no life rafts, not a single body. With no evidence, the official Navy investigation first blamed pilot error, suggesting Taylor got confused and led his men out to sea until their fuel ran out. The rescue plane's loss was deemed a probable explosion, but Taylor's family protested. With no wreckage to prove the theory, the Navy changed the official cause to cause unknown. This opened the door for speculation, and the incident became the cornerstone of the Bermuda Triangle legend. Theories ranged from the plausible to the fantastic. Some cited a rare weather event like an electronic fog that scrambles instruments, or compass malfunction near the agonic line, where magnetic north and true north align. Others suggested rogue waves, time warps, or even alien abduction, a theory famously depicted in the film Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Skeptics argue the legend is overblown. The weather did get progressively worse. Taylor had gotten lost before, and the Martin Mariner was notoriously explosive. To many, it was a perfect storm of human error, mechanical failure, and bad luck. And yet, the mystery endures. How could an entire squadron of pilots become so hopelessly lost, especially when some seemed to know they were heading the wrong way? Most importantly, after one of the biggest searches in naval history, why has not one piece of confirmed wreckage from any of the 6 planes ever been found? The ocean floor in this region includes some of the deepest trenches on Earth, but the complete lack of evidence is what continues to fuel the legend. The logical explanation points to a tragic accident. The legend points to something far stranger. What do you think happened to Flight 19? Was it a combination of human error and bad luck, or did they encounter a force we still don't understand? Let us know your theory in the comments, and for more of history's greatest unsolved mysteries, make sure to subscribe. The story of these 27 men turned a routine flight into the foundational myth of the Bermuda Triangle. While logic points to a series of compounding mistakes, the total absence of wreckage leaves the door open for mystery. The ocean keeps its secrets, and the final fate of Flight 19 remains one of its most haunting.